Israel. We start out in Caesarea Maritima because that's where most tours start, and that's where both of my tours started, and there we get an introduction to archaeology.
All the statues that we have left. When you look at those, you can see if those were left because those are not good enough to be stolen. Right? Those are not good enough to go to Venice. Like we have 3 columns from Caesarea in St. Mark in Venice. We have statues from here in the Vatican and not every other place. We have a mosque that's built completely with marble from Caesarea. So Caesarea is being excavated since it was built. What's left behind should still be good enough for us to be impressed. Look, for example, the size of that foot. If you get close to that, you see the veins, you see the clarity of the nails and everything. Look at the quality of the statuary. Look at the size. If the foot is that big, just imagine the whole guy.
The remains of palaces, marble pieces, granite pieces, limestones. The seats were much higher. Today, they made room for 4,000. Romans built it, they built it for 7,000 and more.
This is the box for the governor or the royalties visiting. Bring their throne and put there. You don't want them to sit on the rocks. Those numbers that you see on the rocks, those numbers are not original. Sorry to say, but no. Those are not original. But what is original here are the green marble on the floor. Those pieces of marble are original floor, and then we added the other colors. So in Israel, when you're restoring something, you always try to make the new restoration different. So you can easily point which one is restored. For example, here all the seats are restored, but those seats here that are broken are the ones on the first line. So those gave enough instruction on how to restore the others. But you see, everything that's above ground, the villages around came and took those rocks for their houses. So you can find pieces of the theater all over the house that we have around here. A sarcophagus is a place that you bury the body, and you leave the body there until the flesh disappears. And then you collect the bones, and you put the bones on the ossuary. This is sarcophagus, that means flesh eater. That is ossuarium, that means bone eater. And then slowly the bones decompose.
Would the Jews be buried in this?
No, this is Greek. We have only a very short period that Jews was buried on.
That maybe they didn't do it while Jesus was here?
Yes, they did when Jesus was here.
They did?
It's a little bit before Jesus until a little bit after Jesus.
Okay.
So when you find a tomb with ossuaries, it's very good because it's
Yes.
Jesus' time. We're looking at the hippodrome. Hippodrome is where you have the chariot races. Remember Ben-Hur? All the sand blow in and cover the seats and preserved it. The excavators came and they started digging. It was fantastic to find still the drawings that they had as decoration. So again, that's one of the things that show us nothing was just simple. Everything needs to be decorated and color. One way to preserve was to put that little roof. Unfortunately, archaeology is a very destructive science. When we dig it up and we show and we expose to the air, it's just a matter of time when it's going to go bad. And there's a limit of how much can you preserve, particularly if you want to preserve it on site, because then it's exposed to the light again and there's no way to keep it. Many of the things are being removed and transferred to museums, but then lose its effects. It's so much nicer to go and see the thing on site. So the question is, how much can you do that and how can we keep in there for preservation? Piles and piles of ceramic. Now that is great for us because ceramic is the best way to date something. So you know that level is from this date. Ways to make pots change, we know there's another date. And you have people that's their whole life to put the pots together and to wash them and try to date the period. And then if you find a coin there, then you really can prove, because the coin will have the name of the emperor or the general.
Archaeologists used to wash the pottery.
Pottery was the natural way to think. Today we don't do that so much. Now we scrub the dust before we wash them, because many paintings on the ceramic are water-based. So we are washing the paints away. Probably very good intention archaeologists wash very important piece of information away. One thing that we're thinking now is that with the progress of technology, maybe we needed to start digging on the dump of previous digs because they did not know what they were looking for, and they throw away the good information. So even today, when you're going to do an excavation on a site, you never excavate the entire site. You do a portion of it, and you leave a part unpacked, and then 10 years later somebody else comes and do that, because it's changing so fast, the ways to collect the knowledge. The pieces that made it to Europe, to the big museums,
Right.
they're just, the monumental art.
So
And if you cannot carry the whole statue, you break the statue in half, so you can take half of it.
Oh.
And we have done that in Egypt, all over the place.
So 20 or 30 years ago, they were usually just looking for big pieces, and 10 years ago, they realized they better not wash the paint off the clay pots.
Right. No, unfortunately, you're growing as you're doing.
Right.
Next time somebody has an idea, and you try it again.
Right.
Or if you're not rushed by time, because another thing that happens here a lot is somebody decides to build a building, and then you need to do a quick excavation. Pretty soon it'll be all covered under the building. Cardo, what you have is the street where the carts goes, where we are standing here. Then there are the shops. This is covered. From the column to the building, you have a roof, and this is open to the sky. Some of them you can tell that the shop used to sell liquids, because on the mosaic floor you have a depression like this. What happened is, if you have a jar that breaks and had wine, all the wine collects in that depression on the floor, and then you can scoop it up and put in another jar and sell for a little less than the original one. Or don't tell. Probably still doing that today, and we don't know that.
Yeah, right, Hananya. Maybe at stores in Israel. Now we're going on to Megiddo, which is a tell, and en route we see another tell. A tell is a man-made hill. As you can see, it looks like an ordinary hill, but it's actually one civilization that built on the rubble of another civilization over and over.